Okay. It's the goddamn. Hello again, and welcome to our final session for reading The Name of the Wind.
We're going to be going through chapter 77 to the Epilogue and the epilogue.
Epilogue.
And then we're going to be talking about the book as a whole, doing our usual discussion, and then a discussion on the book as a whole. And then we're going to announce the results of the straw poll, which is going to determine
Talking about our
book.
next book. Yes.
Yeah, so see you on the other end.
See you.
Chapter 77, Bluffs. I suppose, just to reiterate, because this kind of picks up right in the middle of the action, in the previous chapter, there was a Dracus, which is not a dragon. It's an enormous Komodo dragon that just happens to breathe fire and has metal scales.
Big lizard.
Definitely not a dragon.
Definitely not.
Anyway, and they fall asleep on top of a rock overlooking the dragon.
Yes.
Dracus.
Yes.
Dracus. All right. Okay. The two of them, Kvoth and Denna, wake up and have a lovely discussion about Morningwood, and then they find a place where the Dracus has been frequently eating a specific type of tree, and Denna accidentally takes heroin.
Yeah, it's a good summary. Because they burrow.
The car.
Oh, fair. They burrow. Is that when they go under and they find the what is it? The resin that's like the sap from the tree or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's like, "This tastes good," and he's like, "No."
She said it didn't taste well. She said
I think she said it was bitter.
Better than it was. It was bitter, but it tasted all right or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, like this whole sequence of chapters, like with the Dracus, kind of blend together for me.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
No.
I don't know. I have a negative opinion of the whole Dracus thing, but I can't. I don't know why. It's kind of just.
Is it like how it was presented?
Maybe.
Because like it was a big it was cool when it was revealed in the last, like when we talked about the last reading. I was like, oh, neat, like that's cool, but it was just walking around and eating trees, and it was just living its best life. Like,
I don't think that's it. I wasn't disappointed in the dragon. I kind of like that it was just like a random lizard that happened to breathe fire. This isn't a dragon. True. For sure.
Just felt bad for it, man. Yeah, poor Draggle. Yeah.
Okay, that doesn't work. I tried to take the.
Oh.
It's too big.
Nope.
I didn't want to make the slurping sound that this thing makes.
Fair.
Yeah. So I don't know. The whole thing felt out of place. Like, it felt like a different story.
It was like a side story in a way.
It felt like a side story.
Side adventure.
And I also don't like the way it ended. With
Denna. Right. Yeah, because it's par for the. Well, I mean, we'll get into that, but it's a little bit par for the course with her. But like it's. With it being the end of the book, I was hoping for something more between them.
It's
maybe?
Bordering on cliche for she cliche of herself. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
that I got hooked on the resin. Yeah,
we can talk about it later. But
yeah.
I wonder if spoilers. She's fine after all this, but I wonder if. In the future, there's going to be some issue with her having an addiction to it.
Yeah, maybe. And we can get into that more when we get to the chapter, because I mean, Kavoth has some thoughts around that. But yeah, the poor dragon, like he was just like walking around and he was like, "Ooh, resin," and he just like
Eating
just
heroin
needed the
trees,
stuff. Yeah.
opium trees, which is a thing,
Oh,
definitely.
yep.
It wasn't opium. It's denner resin,
Yeah.
which isn't real. Um,
Mhm.
I think it's not real. Maybe it is. I don't know.
I hadn't heard of it,
Which
but
it when I was reading it, it was normal, but when I was writing it, I realized that denner and denna are almost exactly the same word.
yeah, true.
And it wait a minute.
Hold up. Mhm.
It was a sign. Yeah, ophalum, which is opium.
Phallum.
Obviously opium.
Ah. It is interesting that Denna had the Denner resin. Indeed.
The
Denna had the Denner resin for dinner.
the denner resin.
For dinner.
And the way the denner resin was described was really odd. It's just like big hockey pucks or big discs of it's like
Yeah, they were solid. Yeah.
it's like cakes of metal cakes
Mm-hmm.
or other material cakes, the materials that do come in cakes, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
um
Yeah. I didn't have much else to say about the chapter.
this was yet another chapter where they're just being idiots. I mean, yeah.
I mean, it felt like it was this. I mean, we got a bit of it in the last chapter of just like when you're presented with the Dracus, and it's a much lighter tone than the rest of the book. It does go back to being darker and more dangerous, like as they're going after the dragon or like hiding from it. But it definitely does give that lighter tone because then for most of it, Denna's just high. Like she's just trying to like she's just having a good time, and Kavath is like just constantly like, don't die. Like please eat something. Like
It does remind me. Wait, what was I gonna say? Oh, I accidentally mixed my two thoughts. I was gonna say, I agree, kind of like maple syrup taffy, but for
mm-hmm.
me, it's like more of a maple syrup taffy, but it'll crack if you break it.
Yeah.
But that actually isn't the case because of the way it was described later. That's how I imagined it, at least. Um,
Yeah.
the other thing I was gonna say is it was weird how quickly they went from this stuff will kill you to let's bring it all home. Like, okay. I mean, like, sure, you could sell it to apothecary, but how are you going to carry that much of it all the way back to Tarbian?
Yeah, because
Or
that's what
wait,
they were
no,
gonna do, right? They were
not
gonna
to Tarbian,
no, not
to
Tarbian.
Imre.
A lot of drugs.
But yeah,
Stuff for
just
ice
like the
cream.
logistics of bringing that all the way back to town without getting robbed or arrested. Like,
True. Yeah.
like where did you get this? Oh, we found it in
Ah.
the woods. What?
Mhm.
Oh, there's also a dead man out there who definitely was killed, not killed by us. Like,
Yeah. We're totally innocent. Don't mind us. But money. Exactly. I
I was
mean, they're also both teenagers. They're stupid. Like, whatever.
yeah, the right apothecary would be willing not to ask too many questions. That's not what I'm worried about. They described it
Other
as
people,
being
right?
quite bulky.
Yeah.
It's like
Don't mind us carrying this big sack of
they
nothing.
also don't have horses.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to find apothecary for miles. I'm sure. I'm sure there's no apothecary in the little town of one
Didn't
of the
seem like there
teen
was one in
names.
Imre. Yeah.
Uh,
I don't think they're
no,
taking
what
all
was it
just
called? It
minute.
was like
Yeah, they were just taking as much as they could carry, but like I mean, they were gonna try to take as much as they could carry.
he is 15.
He is. They're both young. I think Den is maybe only like a year younger than him.
I think I have a theory that the reason he's so young is sorry, the reason he not the reason he's so young. The reason the author chose to write him as such an adult or in an adult way and say like, oh, I come off as an adult, is because he didn't feel like writing from the perspective of a 15-year-old. And honestly, I feel that. Why would you want to?
Valid.
But I like with all the romance stuff, I just constantly forget that he's 15. Like there was a what I was thinking of is like a really creepy scene between him and a 13-year-old, and I'm like, wait, no, he's like 2 years older than her. Like that's
that's
okay.
Yeah.
I began to write angrily, and I was like, wait a minute.
Hold the phone. Says they had a heavy oilskin bag with with nearly a full bushel of resin. Also, to be fair, it is an adult talking about when he was young. Also that.
A bushel's like
I don't even know how big a bushel is.
It's like a third of a barrel, right?
That's still a good amount. I
think it's like one of those strawberry baskets that's like that big.
Oh, like the quart, like no, not the quarts, but like the
35 liters
or something. Fair.
Wait, that's a barrel or a bushel? And how many bushels are in a barrel? These are real.
We need to know this for science. Yeah. A bushel is about 35. Okay.
I feel like it's 3 bushels.
35 liters? That's quite a bit. 32 quarts? Holy shit, really? That's huge. They carried so much. I mean, they had to throw a bunch of it at the dragon, but...
35 kilograms. What is an object that might weigh 35 kilograms? Because I don't know kilograms.
That is quite a bit.
How many pounds is 35 kilograms?
I don't know. Bushel of water would be 35 kilograms.
80 pounds. So the equivalent of carrying a bag of cement.
Damn.
I think. Wait.
A backpacking pack full of camping material, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not in a backpack, is it?
No, it's in an oilskin bag. Pretty heavy load.
A bag of cement's 94 pounds, so it's a bit more.
Okay.
43 kilograms.
Damn.
But like,
either way,
those
quite
are
a bit.
heavy. Like that's hard to carry for any amount of distance, and they're both children.
Yeah, they tried their best.
Yeah. Well, anyway, they don't keep it. Let's move on. We've been stuck on chapter 77.
The first chapter.
All right. Chapter 78. Poison. Denna and Kvoth decide to poison the Drakkis with the rest of the resin. That's the chapter.
Was it a short one?
It wasn't a short one. That's all that happened, though.
That's fair.
I mean, they were just discussing
they were
how
plotting.
to do it.
Yeah.
Plotting.
Okay, so
murder.
maybe some sweet talk.
And we should say the reason they were going to kill it is because they knew that it was going to run out of resin and go on a rampage in the town looking for more.
Yeah. Based on the time period, it might be about Denna's weight. I hope she weighs more than 95 kilograms.
No, 70 pounds.
That's just small.
Yeah, that's a... Well, they're children. But
yeah.
I mean, they're not... Even kids aren't that small. I mean...
I don't think so.
Even they'd be in high school.
Man, I don't know what a proper amount of weight is.
We only measure in stones. What's a stone? When I was reading this chapter, I wasn't really paying much attention to what I was reading for some reason. So I didn't really have much to say.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, this is just the planning chapter. The next chapter, I think, is when they actually start taking action.
I know exactly how much I weigh. Yeah, well, no. That 80 was... Anyway, all right. Anything to say?
No, that's not much.
Chapter 79. Sweet Talk. Denna babbles with delirium, and Kvoth learns how to spoon. Denna reveals that Ash is actually alive and hit her to make it seem like she was a victim of the fire. I had to read that 3 times to actually realize what she meant.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like,
Oh.
I what? But I get it
Oh.
now.
Yeah. Yeah, it was some shitty stuff. I was like, oof.
But it's
No,
like,
same. Oh, really?
why didn't
Oh,
she
okay.
just take her with him wherever he went?
Yeah, because what ended up happening to him? Like, he just left, right?
Theoretically,
Yeah.
she
But
doesn't
what was the
say.
reason? Yeah.
Well, he didn't want to be involved either. I don't think.
Yeah, so he just said, "Oh, you'll be the survivor, but you need to look battered." So,
Yeah,
yeah.
but why? Why didn't she just come go with him? I don't
Yeah,
understand.
like why did she have to be the survivor? Yeah. Like to go to
Unless it was just
Imre.
an excuse to hit her, but
Yeah. He made me ask him to hit me just to be sure. Really makes you think he's a fucked up guy. Yeah.
really makes me think he's a Chandrian.
I kept thinking something like that. Like, I mean, I know and also that he's called Ash. I was like, "Oh, like Cinder."
Yeah,
Yeah. More suspicious if there's two missing bodies instead of just one.
but who's gonna
Well,
what
who's gonna know about them? Because she was just brought on as
musician? Yeah,
entertainment, yeah, to play. I don't even. I mean, he was maybe a noble who was invited. Maybe I don't know. Um, unless he's got like quite the name for himself. I don't know.
maybe he's the king
Of the Chandrian.
of the Chandrian. No, I'm still holding
Was
strong
Master Ash
to.
even a guest at the wedding? They don't actually say anything there. Like Denna just kind of at least I don't think so. Denna just said that
I
she was brought on as the entertainment and she's her patron.
yeah, it seemed to me more like he was just uh pimping her out as a musician. What's that
Yeah.
called? There's a legit word for that. I just couldn't think of it.
Oh, fair.
um,
Yeah, to actually to leave, for him to leave and then hit her, which makes it look like she was caught in the midst of some shit. And then she survives. Like I'm trying to think if it like what was his reasoning behind that because like he was just gonna probably meet up with her later, supposedly.
he
Don't
just
know
really
what
felt
happened to
like
him.
hitting her.
Maybe,
He was
which would
mad
be
and
kind of
he
fucked
wanted
up.
to hit someone.
Because he said like, what was it? You made me ask him to hit me just to be sure. Like sure that I could take it. Sure of what? What was that? Where was
she
that
was
line?
she was babbling, so it's hard to. It wasn't
Yeah,
really a coherent thought.
that's true. Let's see.
Chapter
It was toward the end of it, right?
79.
Yeah.
Just
I
gotta
knew Ash didn't
find.
die at the farm. He found me, came back, and said everyone was dead. He said that people would be suspicious if I was the only one who survived. Okay, he didn't just do it out of the blue. He made sure that it was what I really wanted. I knew it wouldn't look convincing if I did it to myself. He made me ask him to hit me just to be sure. But she was like the sole survivor. So what does that mean?
Wait, so is that saying he didn't want to hit her and he's
It sounded like she wanted to show like hit herself to show that like she wanted to be battered, which is unfortunate. Um but it wouldn't be convincing if she did it
right,
herself.
but the just to be sure, the way I just heard that back sounds more like a just to be sure she's okay with it, mate.
Oh. Oh, I see what you mean.
Like maybe she hinted at, and he's like, "No,
He made sure I really wanted him to. Yeah.
ask legitimately, like ask me to my face."
Yeah. So he was like, "You sure? Okay." So, I mean, I gotta reread that a little because I was confused about that. I was like, huh. Um, Yeah, I didn't tell you everything. I know Ash didn't die at the farm. When I was heading toward the fire, he found me. He came back and said that everyone was dead. He said that people would be suspicious if I was the only one who survived. Oh, because then she would have been like, "Oh, she killed everyone."
Yeah.
Okay. Um. Oh, so then it makes her look like a victim. I get it. Okay. So she wanted to look like someone attacked her, as opposed to she's come out unscathed and she probably killed everybody.
Right.
But if
Yeah.
someone attacked her, she was a victim. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, because
I
he's the
suppose
one who
talking about
did
people
it.
being
Cole.
suspicious of her. It was probably so people wouldn't place blame on her. Yeah, yeah. Now I understood that. I had to reread that a couple times. Pretty common for a man who'd just seen everyone slaughtered, to be honest. Yeah.
Well, who do you think slaughtered him?
Oh, Ash.
Yeah, that's him.
He's a
Obviously.
champion.
I don't know. I don't know why he's keeping her around, but maybe because
Yeah.
she. Nah. I was gonna say maybe because
Away
she's
from Mr.
close to
Power.
Kvoth, but I feel like they would just go and kill Kvoth if they really knew he was there.
Yeah, like I don't think they have any big
Grudge against him.
reason. Yeah, not yet. He does, but to them, he's a nobody
I don't
right
even
now.
know you.
I don't even know who you are. Yeah, I think I'll agree on that. That's a big hint as to there's a big hint as to why in book two.
As to why
Just
what?
as to why he was so calm, maybe. She says right after the even this way, they thought I had something to do with it. If he hadn't done it, I might be in jail right now. They would have hanged me. Yeah, that makes sense. Why a presumed Chandrian would be interested in Denna.
So he is a Chandrian. Okay.
Presumed.
Yeah. Thank you.
Confirmed.
Thank you for confirming that for me.
Is he? Wait. Well, I can't ask you up front. I'm gonna guess he's Cinder or someone related to Cinder. Presumed. Presumed.
I don't know. My extrapolating brain has
Deduced. It's legit not confirmed. I also don't know. No shit, really?
third
Oh, we
book
love
hasn't come out.
Rothfuss. Nope. Has it's been when did the second book come out? It was like fucking 2010 or something. It's insane like that.
I mean, that was only 5 years ago.
2011. That's insane. Oh my god, that's
Legitimately,
so insane.
2011 does feel
Gotta
like it
wait
was
for
five
book
years
three.
ago, doesn't it?
See, that's what we should do. We should wait for book 3 to come out, and then we can read book 2, and then book 3, and then we don't have to wait for that shit.
Yeah, I need a break from this book, from this
That's fair.
series.
That's fair.
It's a bit much.
Fair enough. Shall we read the next chapter?
Sure. Chapter 80, Touching Iron. Kvoth gives the Dracus the resin to kill it, but doesn't seem to kill it. And he follows it into the town, puts out the fires using sympathy, and then he drops an iron wheel on it using sympathy. Which was chaotic as all hell.
Yeah. And heavily symbolic of the religious story.
Right, yeah.
Yep. Which I liked. I was like,
And then he wakes up on the wheel.
it's like, what the fuck?
It's like the equivalent of like spearing somebody with a cross and then just being like splayed out on the cross when they find you.
Yeah.
A lot happened.
The poor dragon.
But it was just action.
Yeah, I was gonna say like this was an interesting conclusion, but these 3 chapters again, like I was saying, they kind of like molded or merged together for me as a like to be like this is a story of what they did to the dragon. He wanted resin, he was high as balls, they threw resin at him, didn't work really, so then they threw a wheel on him. Like, and then that was it. And I was like, oh, okay. Like it made sense.
It was a false Dracus.
False Dracus. The Dracus arc.
Not the true Dracus reborn.
Yeah.
The Dracus arc. I like that.
Like I think I was just so excited about the Dracus because I was like, oh, cool. Like, what if it like I think I was just maybe I just over excited myself. I
Did you
just
think it
wanted
was
more
going to
from
be an
this.
Aragon?
No, would that be funny? No, I thought it was gonna be like I don't know. It revealed something like it could like speak human tongue or something, and I'd be like, what the fuck, like,
Moo.
um, or like maybe it had some maybe like it with the pet of a Chandrian or something. I don't know. Like maybe the blue fire
That
was like a like it was intentionally like oh it breathes blue fire, and then you're like oh no Chandrian okay, but then he shows up with a Chandrian, and you're like oh shit.
right. The entire Dracus arc was unnecessary to the broader story. It was just.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could say it developed him and Denna even
Moo.
more, but it really
Yeah, it was a
didn't.
character
It
arc.
was just more of the same of their interaction between one another. Their
I mean,
relationship hasn't changed. It's just been constant.
yeah. I mean, I would say Denna. This was the first time that I feel Denna opened up proper, not fully, but
Well, it's
she
just the
really has
longest time he's
been.
been around her
Yeah,
alone, too.
yeah. So I don't know. I feel like this did deepen their relationship a little bit. Um, especially because it's been kind of like on again, off again. Of like she's gone away and now she's back, and then she's gone again, and she's doing her thing.
Yeah.
I'm with Amy. Yeah. Like I wouldn't say it wasn't like I was like, oh, like I didn't read this chapter and be like, I love them. They're such a cute couple. I hope they get together. I literally was just like, wow, that's really good of Denna to actually open up a little bit more for once because she's basically not done any of that this whole book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm reminded of that one scene from the previous chapter, uh,
Mm.
where they go through the river.
Yeah.
She's just like, come into the water. I'm naked. Come,
Kavas like
come and
I am
swim.
Kavas like I am a respectable gentleman. Like, yeah, that was pretty good. But yeah, I think I was just hoping more from the Dracus, but oh well. But it was a good character development, at least, or at least character slight growth, I guess, for Dunna. Kavath wouldn't know what to do with tits anyway. eh, eh.
Where do I put him?
Pat, pat. Pat the breasts. Am I doing it right? Hi, Les. You came in on a good conversation. How are you? I'm on webcam. I don't know if you've seen me on webcam before, but here I am. We're doing book club.
They didn't teach us this in advanced sympathy.
Oh my god. But yeah, more or less, I agree. Like, other than that,
Coalfires,
just...
save it for the fanfic.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Dracus.
Dracus. Maybe next chapter?
Chapter 81.
Maybe the next 2 chapters, because it's like a page long.
Quoth is overly self-satisfied, falls and hits his head. Chapter 82. Yep. There's nothing to discuss there. That's the entire thing.
Yeah, no, literally, like, this is... Where is it? This one?
It's just a description of how he's like, yay! And then he falls.
It's like 3 paragraphs.
Chapter 82. Ash and Elm. Kvothe goes to find Denna after all that, and she's gone. And then suddenly he gets a reputation as a demon slayer, because he all that, and he kind of leans into it. And he learns that the Chandrian were looking for a decorated vase. And this is where I started to angrily write and then realized that they're like 2 years apart.
Fair.
Because he's like, she was very pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, now he's the first innkeeper. So I have a question. What the hell was the title referring to?
Interesting. I think it makes more sense as part of the ritual for burning the Dracus looking again.
Oh, he's what is that?
Dig a pit that's 10 by
By 10.
10, 10 by 2, Ashen Elm and Rowan 2.
Oh,
Oh. I totally missed that. What page is that?
646.
646.
Yeah, no, it's 100% that.
Oh, well, there you go.
Obviously.
Never mind.
I missed that line. I missed that was the title.
Ashen Elm and Rowan 2. Yeah. Well, there we go. Mystery solved.
And that explains why it's Ashen Elm ...
And Rowan 2. Right. Makes sense.
And I guess it just sounded good. I don't know.
Maybe.
Detective. Anything else to say? What do you think that vase is?
Yeah, so they dug that up near the site, right? I think.
Yeah.
Um,
And why did
well,
they want to
because
destroy it?
yeah, because that was what they were going after, right? Because it was buried.
Well, I assume they wanted to destroy it, unless there was
Well,
something in it.
Yeah, I assumed it was something of value. I don't think they would have wanted to destroy it. Um, I mean, it did kind of hint more to the Chandrian, and I know they don't really. They like to keep a low profile generally. Um, having something be in it would be cool.
I mean, what are they gonna do? Kill every child that knows the nursery rhyme? Like,
Oh yeah, no, they don't. They don't care. Well, if it's not like, you know, that doesn't give a whole lot of information about them. But that vase sounds like it was like made by them, or
specifically showing them individually.
yeah, yeah. Either someone was like commissioned to make this vase and just like was given this information, or it was like something that was like culturally significant to them or something, and
What did I say?
they're like maybe they're like seeking them out.
All right.
If it's only a silly children's story, it's different from a real historical artifact.
There was a woman holding a broken sword, a man next to a dead tree, another man with a dog biting his leg. There was one with no face, just a hood and nothing else inside. That's Heliax.
Yeah.
And he had a mirror in his feet with moons, so Heliax is related to moons.
Which is interesting because they bring up the moon a lot in this book.
And there was a woman with some of her clothes off, so one of the Chandrians is topless.
Nice.
Nice. Sexy villains.
Unless it's depicting like a kind of ritual or something that's related to the moon. Maybe the Chandrian are from the moon.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
They're moon people.
They're aliens. They're celestials. In terms of the moon, what does that mean for Auri? I was thinking about that. Auri's a Chandrian confirmed.
Honestly, maybe.
She has like, well, I was gonna say like the only
like was or something, and they fucked her up because she wanted to leave or something, so they fucked her brain.
Yeah. Because like, is the only Chandrian described with white hair? Is it only Cinder? I don't think Haliax had white hair, right?
Haliax doesn't have a face.
Oh yeah, right. He has no face. What am I saying? Yeah, he's made of shadow, right? Because I was gonna say she kind of has like wispy white hair ish. White, not white, but like I think it's blonde. But
what is it? The first one, the woman holding.
Maybe both Auri and Kvot's families were killed by the Chandrian. Yeah, because we don't know what happened with her family.
That could be. Yeah, she's obsessed with moons.
Oh yeah, maybe. I wonder if maybe it's like a remember when I was talking about how I wondered if she was like if she'd gone insane or something, like if she'd come from the asylum, like maybe like maybe the Chandrian killed her family, and then maybe it was during some kind of ritual during like a soul, like a I don't know,
Moonstice.
like a new moon, moonstice, um, a new moon or something, and then like she just had the obsession with that with moons and like that kind of like flowery language because it is kind of childlike in its
Mm-hmm.
base, right? Which made me think maybe she's lost a bit of her mind because she's definitely older than what I originally thought she was. I thought she was like 6. But no. uh
I'm
a
leaning.
trauma response,
I
yeah.
like that. I'm leaning towards she's a
Mm.
fae,
Also that,
but I
because we
wonder
know
if
that
the
they exist here,
I wonder
so
if the novella says
maybe. I mean, you mean the new one that's coming out?
the
Vast?
silent regard of
Oh, the
silent
current one.
things.
The
It's
Yeah.
it's about her.
Oh, it's about Auri. Oh.
Yeah, they
Oh,
talked about
Hermione's
it in the
protecting
back of the
her.
book.
Yeah. Oh,
Deep
really?
below the university, there's a dark place. Few people know of it. A broken web of ancient passageways and abandoned rooms. A young woman lives there, tucked among the sprawling tunnels of the Underthing, snug in the heart of the forgotten place. Her name is Auri. She's full of mysteries.
Oh, okay.
Gives the
Cool.
reader a chance to learn things that only Auri knows. Sees
That's
the world
interesting.
through her eyes.
Her our eyes.
Our eyes.
Our eyes. Yeah.
Arise, my son.
Lord Vader. Uh, yeah, it's interesting. That the more that I think about it, that we're talking, I like that idea. And now I kind of want to read her novella.
I could
Cool.
read that. I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, it's like a short little thing.
Seems light.
Yeah, I want to read Bass novella coming out. That's gonna be good. My boy.
Not sold on best.
No.
Let's see.
Hmm.
Chapter 83, Return. So it's only been 3 days. We were discussing before, like oh my god, he's gonna get in so much trouble for leaving. He was gone for like 3 days.
Yeah.
So he missed like 3 days of classes. So he was gone
Yeah.
for a weekend, basically.
Yeah. More or less.
So it's fine. Well, Kvoth goes home, settles his debts, and apologizes for leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate that Rothfuss just not explained away, but just his entire involvement with Devi was just like subtly said. Like,
I went straight away to Devi's and gave her the single talent or whatever.
he didn't even say that. He said,
we docked in Imra a few hours after dawn, and I went straight away to Devi's. After some spirited bargaining, I gave her the Lodestone and a single talent in order to wipe out my extremely short-term loan of 20 talents. I
oh,
still
no,
owed
no,
my
no, wait.
original debt.
I'm thinking of later.
Okay. Gotcha.
Thinking of
Hey,
later.
Bo. Oh, yeah, Bo just walked across the screen.
After he gets the money from Ambrose, he pays off his. He said, "Oh, I know." He says he buys a bottle of his own blood. That's the reference. And it's
I
like,
missed that.
okay, so
Okay.
Devi's
I missed that.
out of the novel now. Like, it doesn't need her anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I mean, he can always go back and borrow more.
She'll probably come back.
I'm sure
Yeah.
she will.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt like a little bit like, hey,
Yeah, it's fine.
it's Devi. We go talk to Devi. Come on.
Yeah, that's fair.
Auri's novella is quite different from the book. It's a neat change. Ooh.
Interesting.
Maybe we'll have to check it out.
Give it a read.
Chapter 84, A Sudden Storm. Kvoth finds Denna, once again, with another man. Fuck you, Rothfuss. Ambrose breaks Kvoth's lute, and Kvoth accidentally calls the wind on him.
Yes.
And then Elida, he goes all kooky, and then Elida says something weird to him, and it fixes his head.
Yeah. I quite like this chapter, actually.
I didn't like the beginning of the chapter, but yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Um yeah, that was
You
an
know that
interesting
feeling.
thing.
I don't know if I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like it's very similar to embarrassment or shame, like the feeling
Mm.
you get, or like like the ears go hot, but there's
Yeah.
also ice on the back of it. That's the
Have you
feeling I get for that kind of stuff. Like like there's a cold layer
Oh,
on top of
really?
it. It's like it's the feeling
Hmm.
I get when uh I don't know, somebody sends me a text that I'm like maybe misinterpreting, that sort of feeling, or
Oh,
like the feeling when you send a risky text to someone,
yeah.
like that sort of thing.
Right.
I
Yeah,
get
yeah.
that constantly from like every interaction with Denna, and I hate it. It's not a
Fair.
nice feeling. It's a feeling that kind of makes me have to go curl up and read a book, but I'm reading a book, so
Reading up, yeah. I mean, that's fair. I don't think it's I mean, I'm sure oh, hypo. I'm sure it's not meant to be a good feeling. Hold on, let me just get cat get down, please. Get down. Oh god, you closed OBS. No, there we go. Um uh Dema's whole thing is like you're not meant to feel good about it, and Kavoth just decides that he just wants to be there for her, and like that's it.
he
But we
says
don't.
that. I don't think he
Yeah. Oh.
means
Oh
that.
no. Oh, I'm sure he doesn't. Um, but it's just uncomfortable because you're like, well, she's a little like she's predictable, but it's unpredictable where they're going to go with her story. Because ideally, when we're presented with her as a character as a love interest, we probably want to like her and we want to be like, yeah, they'd be good together, maybe like, or maybe her and another character. But she's just so guarded, and she just is with guys constantly.
I mean, he
You know,
straight up is like she's a cruel person. I mean, you can explain
yeah,
that away, but cruel is you don't get caught up in that. Like if
yeah,
somebody is cruel to you, it doesn't matter why they're cruel to you. It doesn't matter whether it's their nature. That honestly that makes it worse if it's just their nature to be cruel.
yeah.
Like get out of there, buddy.
Yeah, I'll admit Denna is often a frustrating character, even I like her a lot. Yeah, I don't really know how to feel about Denna overall. Like I enjoy characters like if I'm like, reading a book or something where if it's supposed to be a story about how they like open up to others, maybe not fully, but just like I that's generally a nice story. But it's a lot of like what is the term? Like one step forward, two steps back,
She
you
hasn't had
know?
any character growth. We've just learned more about her.
Yeah. Mhm. And even then we still don't know a whole lot about her, which is a shame as the reader because I get it, like that's her nature, but like I feel like we need more, I guess. And I don't know if we'll be given that even in book 2 much. Like especially because she's a character who like Kavoth puts on a pedestal more or less.
Yeah,
Like
and
even
quite
even when he started.
obviously something happened to her at some
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. I
So,
assume we find out in book 3, but
what do you think he meant by tragedy? Just the whole thing, like with the dragon? Because he was like, "Oh, tragedy is about to happen," and we were like, "Uh oh, she's gonna
yeah,
die."
what was that in this chapter? I can't
No, it was the
remember. Or
last
was that at the
chapter.
beginning?
It was the last chapter that we read last time.
Oh, when I read that, I remember I assumed I was like, oh god, is someone gonna die? I would say it's his loot. He often talks about his loot
That
as
was
a person,
so many
as
chapters
a
later though. That was at the
was
beginning.
it?
Yeah, that was like during the dragon thing.
Wait, when? Oh, sorry,
Chap
I misinterpreted.
yeah,
Then I thought that
chapter
you had said it was.
76. is when he said it. I think
76.
end of 76.
Well, I mean, the tragedy would be killing the dragon.
Right? Did he mean that? Is that what he meant? Did he mean the tragedy of the? Or did he? Because I thought he was somehow referring to like her taking the resin or her like disappearing, or
That could also count. Yeah, I would say so. I'm trying to find that ending to the chapter so I can read it.
I guess yeah. Altogether, they're.
I watched her
tragedy,
sleep
huh?
with the competent boy. No idea how foolish he is, or what unexpected tragedies, plural, the following day would bring. Yeah, so I would say probably would be the dragon, him worrying if Denna's gonna live or not,
So
her leaving
so here's my thought on
a
that.
town. Yeah.
When you call something a tragedy,
Mm-hmm.
that's different than tragedy, the concept. A tragedy, for me, when I hear something's a tragedy, I think, okay, like there was a mass shooting, a bunch of people died.
Yeah.
Versus if you say something was tragic, I'm like, oh, maybe you fell off a bike and broke your leg and will never be better. That's okay. That's pretty tragic. But like, I
Yeah.
wouldn't call that a tragedy. Or I
Yeah.
guess my goalposts are different for tragic versus tragedy.
I think so.
I would consider
'Cause
the things that happened the following day tragic, but I
that's
would
fair.
not consider them tragedies. Maybe the Dracus died.
Yeah.
Maybe that, but
Yeah, I think that just kind of comes down to like word, like what that would mean to Kavoth. Because like, I mean,
I love to split
because
hairs about language. You know that.
well, because it's vague enough when you read it, where you're like, oh, a tragedy, and then you immediately think of what you envision to be a tragedy, right? And then you would see that, and then you'd be like, oh, what was the tragedy? Well, the burning of like the messing up of the town, the dragon dying, yes, but I agree in that I would say it would be tragic, but I can 100% also see how Kaboth would see that as a series of tragedies, because I mean,
it feels like the word feels too powerful for what actually happened.
yeah, but it's not really a tragedy for Kaboth himself.
Because I was expecting something a lot
True.
worse. So when this
Same,
crap
yeah.
did happen, I wasn't upset by it, or like I wasn't. I was like, oh, okay, whew. like okay, that's a good thing. Like,
so, I wonder about
the loss of the
too,
Denerism,
because...
yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, massive loss.
Such a tragedy.
Lost.jpg. I was you mentioning that makes me also think of, remember in one of the previous chapters, and this was before like before Kavoth got ambushed by the people in the alleyway, like a few chapters before that, where Kavoth was like, little did I know of the absolute horror and awful,
Yeah,
like little did I know that he was that Ambrose was going to try to kill me. And I was like, oh damn, all right, like geez. And like since then I was like, does he for sure assume it's the goons who attacked him? Because like other than that,
yeah.
like we never get a confirmation that Ambrose was involved at all with that.
There's been zero proof, is there?
Yeah, and the only like direct attack that Ambrose has made against him is destroying his loot in this chapter.
Maybe that was killing him, trying to kill him,
killing me softly, killing a piece of his soul.
But he had tried to kill, so he couldn't have meant that.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, so that's why I was just like that was another like subverted expectation, because I honestly thought with that ending, I was like, oh, he's going to kill him, and he's going to try to kill him in the next two chapters.
Yeah, he's
going
gonna
to
like,
make an attempt on his life.
He's gonna like come at him with a sword or something, or like try to use sympathy to like knock him off a cliff, or
stop his breath or something. Yeah,
drive him to suicide for breaking
the loot. And only 30 chapters later. Like, it was a while. That was just, it just reminded me of it now that we're talking about like expectations.
I, that is a complaint I have about the book. Is
That's fair.
his the or maybe it's just Kvoth's storytelling style, but
Perhaps.
he uses too grandiose of words and descriptions, and then the thing that happens is kind of mid because of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like he spends 3 chapters talking about how like absolutely perfect a woman is, and like how like she's like this
Mid.
wild animal, and then just like Dennis shows up and it's like, okay, this is a human woman. Cool. She's pretty.
Yeah, I do think that what you're saying though, I do think that that actually is a downfall for like of Kavath's storytelling because every time
Yeah.
it's been him building it up and then it was so in our minds we're like we because he's vague enough usually he'll be like, oh, Ambrose tried to kill me, or let me tell you about the most beautiful woman ever, because it immediately goes to our expectations of what's going to happen, and he's not
It does fit with
necessarily.
his background as
Yeah,
a performer,
yeah, which is really
a
like
stage
I
performer. Yeah.
actually kind of like I mean upon initially reading it I was like, oh, like I was like kind of thrown off, but that's kind of a neat way to do it.
I
um
don't like reading it, but
Fair. Yeah.
if that's an intentional thing, I like that he did a good job of that. But
I like to
it
think
just
that it's intentional, but it's hard to tell, right? Yeah.
it's uncomfortable to read.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Fair.
like lots of wildly swinging emotions.
Mm-hmm. So I wanted to say that. So first of all, that the so when Ambrose throws his loot at Kavath and he tries to catch it, he misses. It falls to the ground, just cracks. Um, and at that point in the book, Kavath utters a name under his breath that he doesn't know, he doesn't remember. And then the book describes like a great, huge, massive gust of wind coming in and just
Whoosh.
buffeting the corridor, and then Kvoth like passes out, I'm pretty sure. Um, and then he gets taken to the infirmary, I guess, and then the Eladin comes in and he whispers something in your ear, something in his ear, and then he calms the hell down because he has like a swirling storm in his head. So the so then reading that I was like, oh, he literally just called the name of the wind. Holy shit, like that's, but like he wasn't really even.
He did the name of the book.
He did the funny thing was I read this whole thing and I went, this is straight out of a fucking anime. Oh my god. Like this is literally the chosen character being like, I have sudden power. Huh? And then he just does it, right? I just laughed. But
It's also like
what I
episode
found
4 of Wheel of Time.
um and but what I liked about it was it gave a little bit more information into like the power of naming in terms of like where it might draw its power from, because like
It comes from the god of anime.
emotion and yeah, on the side, huh? It was related to emotion in this case because he felt such anger and just like resentment, like he basically wanted to kill Ambrose, and then he just didn't have control of himself and did it. um and then he couldn't control it after because I don't think he could hold the storm in his body is what I kind of
What
got
did
from
he
that.
say? He's just like straight up, give it to me or I will kill you.
Pretty much, yeah. Just steps forward, he's like, give or I will murder you. um it definitely feels like names come when they're needed. Kavoth has the power of yeah. Yeah, it comes when they're needed. That's an interesting thing. What do you think Eladin said to Kavoth? Hey, little mama, let me whisper in your ear.
Well, I mean, it sounds like the we uh, we know from later on what it does, but
Yeah, it's a calming thing.
I mean, he didn't say what the name of the wind was either. It's
No.
obviously in some like other language
Yeah. Maybe it's the foreign language of the Chandrian.
or
I
the
don't.
time. Yeah, the
Or the
old tongue.
Siaru.
Yeah.
Or the old tongue, true.
Damn it.
No. Kavath just said one sock in Siaru. The poor. Oh my god, that was so good. Yeah. So I don't know. I just really like this chapter. I was like, that's neat. Does it have to be in human language?
I mean, a human has to be able
Wah,
to
wah,
produce the
wah.
sound
It
with their
has. I mean, it
mouth.
could be yeah. It has to be a sound, a
I am
guttural thing.
Groot.
Or can the name of the wind just be sound, not part of any language?
Yeah, maybe he just went.
Call the name of the wind. Yeah. Until we meet again.
Humans can make sounds not part of a language, but it does
Yeah.
have to be something humans can do.
Or combinations of sounds. Yeah. Like it was probably like a guttural thing. Yes, that's exactly what it is. He just it sounds possessed by a demon. The name of the wind is written in this chapter. Wait, was it? I don't remember.
What? He didn't actually say what he said, did he?
I don't think so. Arseldi. Isn't that what he said to him? Arseldi. Is that in this chapter? Page 661. Oh, it's after this chapter. No, it is in this chapter.
I opened my mouth to howl, to cry, to curse him, but something other tore from my throat, a word I did not know and could not remember.
So that's what Eladin said.
Yeah, and then later...
I think that it's not the name of the wind. It's something that's to calm the storm inside Kvoth. Name of the wind, Chad. It's the first thing he says, and Simon hears it as wind, but Kvoth hears it as Erlslip. Simon hears it as wind? Oh, Simon said somewhere. Is Simon Siaru? Shaldish? I don't think so.
No. So I think what happened here is Eladin and Kvoth were both speaking in name.
Oh.
And so when someone says the name of the wind, it sounds like they just say wind and the wind comes. Right?
Right. Okay.
Because remember what's his name? Eladin just walked the stone. He's like, stone.
Oh yeah, and he was like, what the fuck? They changed it.
Because I don't think he actually said stone. That's just
no,
what
he probably
Kvoth
said the name. Yeah. Oh, so like you only understand it as name if you're speaking in name.
Yeah.
Whereas Kavasa he just said stone.
That's how I interpret
That's an interesting idea. Okay. I didn't catch that.
When I read this at first, I thought he was speaking in whatever language Simon speaks. And I was like,
but Simon is a Turan.
Why is he saying wind in that language?
Yeah.
But I see that now, yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. I kind of like that.
So he was, I guess, checking to see if he was stuck in name mode?
Stuck in name mode, yeah. It's like, are you speaking English? No? Okay.
Stuck in name mode, please reboot.
Please reboot. he says something to calm him down, and then just from inside Kavoth's body is just like the Windows boot up, like sound like boom, or like the Mac OS one.
Wow.
BT Loves beat me to the reboot joke. Ah. That's interesting. I hadn't caught that.
Makes you wonder what the second thing Eladin says is.
Yeah, because he doesn't actually say what it is.
He says it's just something to...
He leaned forward, he spoke, and the storm stilled. Like, Kavoth didn't fully hear. Interesting. Anyway, that was the main pieces that I wanted to talk about for that chapter. It was just emotion and, I guess, naming. I didn't think about that. About the way it's spoken.
Yeah. Yeah, that was interesting.
It's a neat idea. Yeah. And that was part one of our reading today for Name of the Wind. For part two, we'll be starting at chapter 85 and going into just some more chapters and discussion, and we hope to see you there. Thanks.